For the installation of the offense, obviously it's different for everybody this year, but I think we've, as a group, done a good job of understanding what we're trying to get accomplished. And Baker's been, asking every right question that we have. At the end of the day, we get together for live meetings, and there's some recorded portions of the installation that go out, and you always get feedback from Baker, from Case, the quarterbacks. They do a good job. I think anything that's not clear to them, they get cleared up in that meeting before the end of the day is over, and then they move on to the new information that we're installing the next day. But so far, it's been good. As far as the footwork goes, that's the part that you can actually coach, over the internet, which is cool. So that by the quarterback sending the videos of their footwork to me, I can now go back and break it down and get on a one-on-one Zoom meeting with them and kind of coach them through the correction process of all the footworks we're going to use.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, Mary Kay. Our next question is from Tom Withers. Tom, go ahead.
Hey, Alex, good to see you, man. Appreciate the time. Hey, you just touched a little bit, but would you say that this has been more productive, the virtual off season, than you anticipated? I know you guys have had to kind of adapt and modify as you've gone along.
I think so. Initially you're kind of concerned, obviously, as a staff coming in for the first time, not being in a face-to-face meeting with your players. That's something that's lacking right now, that connection and building that connection. But there's a lot of great information from a lot of great coaches that are now recorded, that they have the ability to go back and not just hear in an installation meeting where I might get up and talk about install 3 pass game, and then it's gone. Then you go to your coaches and then it's gone. Now it's in a library. You could always go back to install 3. You could pull up the recordings again and refresh yourself. So there are some benefits to it, but it's been different and unique. But I think we're getting the most out of it that we can.
And if I could follow up, I know chemistry is a big part of what you guys want to do going forward. In terms of like bonding with your room and with the rest of the team, have you guys been able to come up with anything kind of creative to make sure that you guys are connecting as a team the way you want them to?
Coach has done a great job of putting out some challenges to the guys, whether it be a slam dunk challenge or a movie poster challenge, things like that, to keep it competitive and fun. The big part is when you come into a meeting, I think it's just do it like you would if you're in the room. And that's where those connections are made, the friendships are made, the trust is built. I always try to allow those guys to have 5 minutes of, hey, what'd you do yesterday? Or how was your weekend? Just to, how's your mom, dad doing? Or how's the baby? Just to, to connect and get to know each other deeper. And it's different from a meeting, aspect. It's been doing it in person, but it still allows those guys to communicate with each other and kind of catch up and, get on each other a little bit and hold each other accountable, bust chops a little bit. So we still do have some of that connectivity that's going on. It's just not face to face.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, great. Our next question is going to be from Scott Petrick. Scott, I believe you need to unmute. Yep, you're all set.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Baker held those workouts with some of the guys in Texas. Were you able to see any film of that?
Nothing was recorded. We obviously weren't involved as far as setting that up or anything. It was something they did on their own, so we did not see any footage from that. I did just get one quick video of Baker just showing the guys in full lather after a workout, but no, we did not see any of that footage.
And then when you said that you're able to work on his footwork through the internet, so how does that go? Like, can you break it down? What he shows you, how you tell him to tweak stuff?
Yeah, so you're basically and kind of the technology I got was from a golf lesson I had 10 years ago, and they used this app that I still use to this day. And you can really slow-mo and break it down. You can draw on the app as well. So it gives me the ability to share my screen with Baker, watch his feet, and really you can zoom all the way into just the feet, and you can talk about each step, and the position of each step, the length of each step. It's actually a pretty cool tool. It's the first time I had really used it extensively to teach footwork, but it's been useful.
Thanks.
All right, next we're going to go to Jake Trotter. Jake, if you can open up your side, you're all set.
Yeah, hey, Alex.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, what sense of commitment level, focus, being a leader, have you gotten out of Baker, even though you guys are having to do this virtually? And then what sense do you have with the pieces you guys have added, the new staff, the new offense, the excitement level, the focus level of really the entire offense?
Yeah, for starters, I think Baker's, he has done everything I'd expect from him as a starting quarterback, and his work ethic is great. He's, he jumps into other meetings that aren't required, and he'll sit in the receiver meetings. when they have him. He'll sit in the running back meetings from time to time as well. So he's all in. He's doing it exactly how we'd expect him to do it. As far as the standpoint of our offense and the people we've added, obviously extremely excited about the additions to the offense through free agency and through the draft. Hats off to the scouting department for bringing those people in. I thought, man, we hit it out of the park there. Extremely excited about what we have. Can't wait to get together to see it all unfold in person. But if you just look at the players that we've acquired and the people we've added, I think that you would say our side of the ball, we look like we're in pretty good shape, from a personnel standpoint. Just excited to get in front of these guys and get to know them better as people.
All right, our next question is from Jeff Shadell. Jeff, take it away.
I have one more question about this footwork. I mean, Baker was doing his right foot forward for his whole career, and until last year, he had a lot of success. So what was really wrong with what he was doing before?
Nothing that's wrong with doing it. It's just the philosophy of the offense and the way I coach the quarterback, and that's what I'm looking for. Like I said, I've done them both. I've studied all three different types of gun footwork, and I've decided that this is what fits the quarterback the best in the system that we're running, and that's it.
Great. Our next one is from Daryl Ryder. Daryl, if you could unmute.
Hey, Alex, back to the workouts. I know you're limited in what you're allowed to do as far as the video and Baker working with teammates on his own and that. But my question is, how are you able to make sure that time that those guys are spending together, they're like implementing and doing what you would like them to do as far as the offense is concerned? How do you do a little quality control there while playing within the rules?
To be completely honest with you, when guys get together and work out, they run through a list of routes. It's the route tree. They're generally the same. You're going to go out, you're going to throw a slant route, you're going to throw a speed out, whatever route you call them, but the tree's the same. So there's real no quality control. I would expect any professional quarterback and group of receivers to go out and be able to put themselves through a great workout on air. I mean, you're picking from a list of routes. Now the installation portion of how we call those routes, that might be something different than what they're used to. But, an Okie is an Okie is an Okie. It doesn't matter if you call it 4 different things, it's still a speed out. So those guys will get themselves lined up and run those routes. They know the routes that we have in the system just through the installations, and they should be able to go out and have a great workout on air by themselves without quality control.
Next up is Dan Lobby.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Dan?
Good. Everybody kind of knows what Nick Chubb can do and how he sort of fits in this offense. But the other guy you have, Kareem Hunt. Do you have a better feel for kind of how you want to use him and kind of what he can unlock in this scheme?
Yeah, I definitely have we have an idea of what we see his role playing in this offense. I think, it's something we have to keep growing. Being away is probably not as good as doing it together and having the ability to see Kareem and run routes and all the things that he brings as a player. And not having that access to him right now is probably a little thwarted where we're heading with that. But I think there's definitely – we got to find a way to put the best players on the field and the matchups that'll come with that each week, and it'll change weekly. But Kareem's an extremely talented runner as a running back, and he's exceptional out of the backfield as well. And he's fearless and selfless. He's not the selflessness of him blocking and lead blocking. I mean, he's just a football player, loves to play. We got to find ways to get him involved.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. We're going to go to Nate Ulrich. Nate?
Hey, Alex. Couple questions. Baker mentioned shotgun for his left foot being up, and you mentioned that too. Is there any change in him at all under center with the footwork? And then my other question is, could you tell us just your thoughts on the 2 new offensive tackles, Jack Conklin and Jedrick Wills, what those acquisitions mean to you, and your level of comfort in getting Wills over to the left side, even when you guys have this limited hands-on interaction with him in this unique offseason?
Sure. Yeah, so Baker's footwork from the gun will change. We talked about with left foot forward. But from under center, we like to trying to take some of that giant stagger step that he has out. I think, our philosophy is we want to be, with the West Coast footwork, there's a way to teach that, and it's not with that giant stagger. So under center will change slightly for him too, but I think it ultimately will add to the rhythm and the timing of the pass game. As far as the tackles go, extremely excited to get Jack. Solidifies that right tackle spot. He's a guy that's done it, has proved he can do it, and he'll come in and help us right away. And then Jed going over to the left side, I think the sky's the limit for him. Having Coach Callahan, Coach Peters on board, that'll only accelerate his growth, I think, and expect him to be a left tackle for a long time in this league for the Browns. So we're excited to have him as well.
All right, thank you. Our next one is from Marla Rittenauer. Marla, if you could unmute on your side, thank you.
Hi, Coach. One quick thing before I ask my real question. How did that thing you're using from your golf game help your golf game?
That never changes. That'll never change. There's no fixing that. That's just that'll never change. Didn't help enough, that's for sure.
I'm kind of curious about the tight ends, especially in Joku. Is kind of yet to reach his potential, and that seems to be such a big part of what Coach Stefanski does. I know it's hard to see in a Zoom meeting, but you get a sense of his attitude or just where he is.
No, he's been excellent. Really enjoyed him in the meetings. He's a guy that speaks out. He's a smart guy. He understands what we're trying to get accomplished. He can answer the questions when you ask him. He's been really interactive in the meetings, and that's been great. I'm excited to get to know him. I know obviously he's a talented guy. Got in the doghouse a little bit last year, it sounds like, from the old staff, but it's a fresh, clean slate for him. He's going to add to that tight end room. There'll be times when we're out there with 3 tight end sets. It's part of the system, and to have him with the ability that he has, both athletically, to play in line or to get him out in space and get some matchup issues with safeties or linebackers that can cover him, depending. I'm excited to see what he has to offer, but he has been excellent, and I look forward to working with him.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Marla. We're going to go to Tony Grossi. We have 6 hands up. We'll take these last 6, and we'll be done. So, Tony, go ahead.
All right. Hi, Alex. It's kind of an elephant in the room. Is Odell Beckham's attendance in the Zoom meetings, considering that he was out of it last year? I assume he's been attending. Could you describe his commitment to this portion of your virtual season?
He's all in. He's bought in. He's been there, and it's awesome. And it's good to have him there. I mean, it's good for him. He's obviously needs to learn the system, but to have him involved and everybody involved, everybody's attendance has been outstanding. And that's a tribute to Kevin, I think, and the guys that are buying into the program.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tony. We're going to go to another Tony. Tony Zarella, you're up.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Tony, how are you?
I'm doing good. I don't know if you knew Johnny Majors. This is not my question, but I know he returned right after you left Pitt. If you did have a relationship with him, I'm sorry for your loss.
I had not met. I've met Johnny a few times as he came through University of Pittsburgh, but obviously a tremendous coach. Brought us a national championship in '76.
Yes, sir. Tom kind of touched upon this. I just wanted to ask what it's like to take a new position, all the coaching staff, and then be halted. And I know you're getting a lot done virtually, but how much are you chomping at the bit to get on that field and actually implement this stuff?
It has been hard. It gets harder each week that we're apart. You kind of get into the Zoom meeting mode, which is where we are right now, but definitely dying to get everybody back in that building at some point to get this thing going. Because I think the more that we're together in these meetings, the more we understand the system, how we're going to attack people, and with the talent that we've acquired now on offense. And I'm excited. I can't wait to get back.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tony. We're going to Scott Petrick next.
Hey, Alex. We talked about using 2 or 3 tight ends at a time. We got 2 big-time receivers, 2 big-time running backs, fullback you brought in that Kevin likes to use. How have you guys gone about trying to figure out how you're going to use each package and get all those guys on the field enough as you want?
That'll change weekly. And, one of the things about our offense, we intend to be, multiple in personnel groupings. One week it could be, a 3 tight end day. The next week it could be a 3 wide receiver day. We're going to try to give ourselves the best chance to beat you each week. And with whatever personnel group that calls for, we feel like we have good people in those positions and depth at those positions too. So if it's a day where we come out with two running backs, a fullback, a halfback, and 2 wide receivers in our regular package, we're going to put ourselves in a position to win each game, and that might look different each week. But we feel like we have the players at the positions that we have the ability to dictate on our terms how we're going to run offense each week.
Thanks.
Thanks, Scott. We're going to go to Mary Kay. Mary Kay, if you can unmute. Thank you.
Coach, I think the plan was, according to what Kevin Stefanski told us, was that he would have you be calling the plays in the preseason games and then see kind of how it works out as you move into the regular season. With now there being no in-person off-season program, is that still sort of the plan, or how's that shaking out?
It's not actually something that we haven't even discussed, Mary Kay, to be honest with you. I think it's still a fluid situation until we get together and feel more comfortable with each other, him with me more so on the field, in live action. We were calling them, there's no script. You're just calling it offense against the defense. And ultimately, until he feels comfortable with that, I think we're in the same spot as we have been.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mary Kay. We've got two left. We're going to go to Nate Ulrich, and then we're going to close out with Tom Withers. Nate, go ahead. If you can unmute on your side.
Thanks, Rob. Coach, we talked to Joel Bitonio yesterday, who told us that Jarvis Landry and Coach Stefanski kind of led a conversation in a team meeting about, the recent events, George Floyd's death and everything that's happened since then in this country. And I just thought, it would be only fair to ask you what you thought of those discussions you guys were able to have as a team and how important they are to you.
I mean, obviously it's a horrific event, and to talk about it helps. Starts that healing process, or starts the process of change. I think Kevin did an excellent job in the team meeting of letting the guys know that we need more than just words. We need actions, and he's there to help these guys put those words into action. Provided a lot of different ways for them to help and support right away. I thought it was excellent. And then, Jarvis speaking from the heart of how he feels, and having, the opportunity to listen to him explain what it's like for him. It was very powerful and very moving. And, I stand with the organization that there needs to be change ultimately. And, we can't just say that. We have to go out and show it by actions.
All right. And our last question is going to be from Tom Withers. Tom, take it away.
Thank you, Rob. Alex, a couple things. You piqued my interest with the slam dunk contest and the movie poster competition. Can you give us a little more detail on exactly what transpired there?
Well, there were some good slam dunks. I think there was a young rookie linebacker from out in the country somewhere that dunked into like a milk bucket that was hanging on a tree, and like work boots and overalls. I thought was pretty cool. That was my favorite. The movie poster one, our rookie quarterback put together a Photoshop picture of the Tiger King with the quarterbacks in it, which I thought was that one in my mind. But guys are having fun with it. It's just a way to kind of get away from football and do something, get to know each other a little bit better.
Hey, and back to Odell for 1 second. I mean, obviously you started with a clean slate with him. You didn't really have any preconceived notions, or maybe you did, of who he was. Has he surprised you at all in the way that he's been, so attentive and kind of all in, as you mentioned, or just how do you characterize just your feelings on just getting to know Odell?
It's been great. I've known of Odell, obviously. Ben McAdoo had Odell in New York, and everything that Ben talked to me about him, I've seen. He's a worker. He loves football. He's smart as hell. He's just been a model guy this offseason. I can't wait to get him in the building, get him on the field. He's been outstanding.